Hi, welcome to NutriHome. My name is Lynn from Butsi, and today we'll be talking about malnutrition and how NutriHome can help you and the community to eradicate this problem of malnutrition. So today we'll be discussing three main things. The first one will be what is malnutrition. We'll be defining it and give a little bit of some examples, and also how does it affect our infants and young children. So for today's slide, we'll be more concentrating on infants and young children, but malnutrition affects people of all ages. Then lastly, we'll be talking about what does NutriHome has to offer to help our country, our communities, and also individuals in eradicating malnutrition. So let's get into it. What is malnutrition? So malnutrition is a deficiency or imbalance of a human's energy intake, or we can just say it's inadequate nutrient intake. So when you take little or less of a nutrient, that means it will cause malnutrition because that nutrient is not in your body and it's needed by the body. So that causes malnutrition. So the high rate of malnutrition in developing countries remains a growing concern among young children, especially in their early development ages because of insufficient macro and micronutrients. So we have macronutrients, these are our fats, our proteins, and our carbohydrates. These are our macronutrients, and then our micro, our minerals and our vitamins. So when our young children have insufficient of these intakes, they will suffer for malnutrition. So both globally and in Africa, malnutrition continues to be a key cause of deaths in infants and young children under the age of 5. So it is an underlying condition that affects every region, and it affects mostly children, causing illness that prevent the child's body from fighting off infection and also rapidly weakening their immune system, causing high mortality in children. So that is the reason why there's so many deaths, because when a child is malnourished, that means their immune is compromised, and then that means as well that their body cannot fight off infections. And now when infections comes, that means it will be the one causing all the mortality that is found amongst children. So that's why it is important for us to know about malnutrition so we can fight it. So we always hear people say inadequate nutrition causes malnutrition. So let's look at what adequate nutrition uh, does, or why is it so crucial, right? So adequate nutrition is very crucial for infants and young children, especially in the early days of their life, which is about 0 to 2 years, because it is crucial for their brain development and also for a strong immune system build-up. And deprivation, or if they lack these nutrients by this age during growth, they may cause lifelong and irreversible effects. So if you don't give your infants enough food at this age, you might not be able to reverse it afterwards. So that's why it is important to concentrate, especially from 0 to 2 years, to make sure that they get everything that they need for proper growth, especially the brain development, because it will cause many damage to their brain if it's not developed properly. So the inadequate intake of macronutrients has crucial consequences on the health of young children, including mental retardation, exposure to diseases that may be infectious, and even death in itself. So I've heard so many stories where, when children go to school, they cannot grasp their work, or they're failing in school, they don't seem to be able to concentrate. If you look back at how that child has been raised, some of them, or even majority of them, we could tell that they were malnourished at the age of 0 to 2 years, and their brain did not develop very well. That means now they have a difficulty now during to grasp, especially academically. So this will affect the growth of the community at large, because if you have children who are not academically privileged. That means it's going to affect our economy and everything. So that's why it is important to address nutrition and to give our children adequate nutrition at a very, very early age. With adequate nutrition, you need to eat what your body needs. If you eat less, it's going to cause malnutrition. If you eat more as well, it's going to cause malnutrition as well. So research has shown that middle and low income family children struggle mostly with wasting and standing. Although there has been an increase in obesity and overweight, but this group of people, usually the children, they suffer from wasting and standing. That means they're eating less. And then from high income families, the children they're affected by overweight and obesity because of their extreme consumption of processed food, beverages, and snacks that have increased sugar, fat, and salt levels, and less nutritional value, which in turn leads to excessive energy intake. So it can be either you're eating less of a certain nutrient, or maybe you're eating even more of a certain nutrient, like here you're having excessive energy intake causing overweight and obesity. So all those, they are not good for health, and we need to make sure that we have ways in which to try to help, especially our children, so that they don't become obese or overweight, at the same time that they don't get wasted or also become standing as well. So we have, in a summary, tried to define what is malnutrition and why it is important. So now we're going to just talk about the factors that contribute to malnutrition. There are a lot of them, but this is just a few. And you see most of them, they actually interlink with each other. So lack of exclusive breastfeeding, we're talking about between 0 to 6 months, where we are encouraged to have exclusive breastfeeding, but some, they don't do that because of various reasons. So it can also lead to malnutrition, where low income among underprivileged households and large family sizes. In Africa, poverty remains the principal cause of child malnutrition, right? Lack of basic health, where some caregivers, they don't have access to the basic health that they need, which will affect the infants and young children as well. Food insecurity, insufficient feeding, and also the lack of the quality food to feed your children, access and availability of food for consumption, and poor living conditions, also in poor nutrition. This is from generation to generation. Like it is said, it is difficult to break a cycle if people, they don't take the initiative. If your grandmother was malnourished, maybe they pass it to your father and your mother will pass it to you, and it becomes a circle in the family. But it's time to break that cycle of malnutrition. Also, lack of access to sufficient food and water. So these are some of the factors that contribute to malnutrition. They are not limited to only this, but these are the major ones that affects us in our country, in our community, and also as individuals. So what needs to be done to fight against malnutrition by individuals, by communities, or even by other organizations in NutriHome at large is to provide high nutrient-dense diet to young children as they consume small amounts of food each day to prevent impaired growth and keep their bodies healthy and free from infections. And if we look at the guidelines for healthy eating, which is provided by our health department, you can see that it is recommended, especially from 12 to 36 months, that we should feed child 5 meals, 5 small meals per day. And also you need to encourage the child to play and be active. And even from 3 to 5 years, you need to give them regularly meals and also healthy snacks in between, because they have small stomachs and so they consume small amounts, but they need to eat frequently. So that's one thing that we need to provide them, a high dense nutrient diet. Then we need to address issues and also have urgent interventions aimed at improving macro and micronutrient intake and also the correct feeding habits. It is important to have the correct feeding habits because as infants and young children are growing, they are there are some certain can I say techniques that you need to use, like for example, you need to have patience with your children, you need to encourage them to eat, and you need to make sure that you help them, like they can even be using their hands to eat. Sometimes they seem like they're playing with the food, but it's not like they're playing, it's their way of grasping what you're doing, especially from 6 to 12 months, right? So you need to make sure that you provide them with the correct feeding habits so that they start liking the food that you're providing them so that they can eat properly. Then we have another way that we need to be done is to research and implement more ways to improve infant feeding using indigenous foods that are available to many low-income families, especially in the rural areas. So in as much a lot of research has been done, and people they are doing so much to do interventions, some of the indigenous foods are being left out, and these foods are the one that people can access. So we need to make sure that all these indigenous food that people can access are included in the diet of infants, so that people, especially in the rural areas, then can utilize the resources that they have to make sure that their children they grow with adequate nutrition. So there are many ways that many companies are used to intervene. At NutriHome, this is what we are doing at the moment. We are doing two things. The first one is wellness campaigns, where we are helping creating awareness on nutrition issues. These issues include obesity in infants, infant feeding practices, malnutrition at life, so any issues that is related to infant and young child nutrition. So we'll be creating awareness on that through workshops, even online teachings and all that. So you can follow us on WhatsApp or Twitter or any of our media pages to see when next we have a workshop on where we are discussing these various issues. Then the second one is to promote high quality diets by providing them and also teaching them. So by providing a high quality diet, we'll be developing and implementing healthy eating patterns that are diverse in vitamins and minerals, rich in fruits and vegetables, fiber, animal and plant protein, nuts and seeds. Especially in the early childhood, to reduce non-communicable diseases which could lead to cancer, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular disease at a later stage. So by this, what we do to provide this high quality diet is we provide meal plans for infants. We do catering services as well. We also do menu planning as well, especially maybe it's preschools and everything. We have menu planning, and we also have a Coach the Caregiver campaign where a caregiver will come and then we'll be teaching them on the proper infant feeding practices and provide them with also a menu that they can follow for their children. And also we provide the cooking classes as well for the caregivers so that they can provide quality food for their infants as well. Children are our pride in our families and in our communities, and investing in their best nutritional care should not be an option to any of us. So please contact us if you need any help with childcare in terms of nutrition. Our website is www.nutrihome.co.za, or you can email us at admin@nutrihome.co.za, or you can WhatsApp and call us on either of those numbers, which is 082-286-1248 or 0611997877, and then we'll be able to help you. Thank you so much. You can just leave a comment on any issue that you want us to address, which is concerned with nutrition, and then we'll look at the comments, and then if there's any topic that needs to be addressed on our next issue, we'll be able to address it on your behalf. Thank you very much.